Yet another boatload of new releases. I can't keep up anymore, you know? As soon as I compile a list of fragrances to talk about in a video like this, there's another whole list to do already waiting for me. So things are just cranking out too frequently. Don't you guys agree? Are you tired of it? Are you excited? I'm excited for some of these, and I'm going to let you know what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about new releases. Do let me know if you're overwhelmed. I do get overwhelmed quite a bit and quite frequently. And I know how to kind of weed out some of the ones I'm not really interested in. And so that's why I do these videos. So later I can go back to make sure which fragrances I was excited about so I can actually physically get my nose on them. So there's 17 fragrances here in this video. We're going to go ahead and get started with the first fragrance. But, you know, before I do move on, I do have to let you know I'm a little under the weather, feeling a little sick, but I had enough energy to come and shoot this video. So, just a little heads up that I might be a little slow. So, first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is a leaked fragrance for the house of Celine called ZOUZOU, or is it ZOUZOU? Z-O-U-Z-O-U. So this is leaked, not announced formally yet, so there's no photos I can find online, unless some, you know, photos that people stole, I guess. But it is coming. It's from the house of Celine. But I also hear there's a rumor black tie is discontinued. Is this freaking true? That happens to be my second favorite, if not my first, because it goes back and forth between that one and Dans Paris. But I'm excited for ZOUZOU. I love this house. It's a luxury house under LVMH. All their fragrances are sold only in their boutiques, so you can't go to a department store to get them. They're kind of like Louis Vuitton, although a lot of people say they copied Chanel because their look and feel kind of does remind me of Chanel a little bit. But I enjoy the fragrances of this house, and I'm looking forward to ZOUZOU. If any of you have gotten your nose on it, do let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. But moving on to the house of Givenchy, it's the La Collection Particulière fragrances, which really haven't made it here to the States, but I have heard from some folks, some Nordstroms carry the line. So it's Bulgarian. It's actually called Kerfu. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Bulgarian, Turkish, Damask rose, Cassis, Basil, Patchouli, and moss. Sounds like it's going to be a chypre. The idea of rose, patchouli, and moss, like a rose chypre. But I'm hoping it's different enough from other fragrances that will justify a purchase. If it's very close, then move on to the next one. So the next fragrance is Hugo Boss's Boss Bottled Triumph Elixir. So I thought they ended on a high note with the Boss Bottled Elixir, but no, they didn't stop there. They're continuing with the freaking elixirs. This time it's Triumph Elixir. I don't know where they come up with these names, but they should have stopped the Boss Bottled collection with that last fragrance, which was really good actually. But here we have another fragrance created by Annick, Menardo, and Suzy, Helley, Patchouli, Vetiver, and Violet Leaves. Sounds kind of boring actually. If you've gotten your nose on it, do let me know. And also, speaking of Suzy Helley, she created the next fragrance for the house of Frederic Malle. It's the new collaboration between Frederic Malle and ACNE Studios. And it's basically ACNE Studios. So Suzy Helley created this fragrance. I got my nose on it. And it's a aldehydic bomb. So if you like aldehydes, you might really dig this one. A lot of people associate aldehydes with Chanel No. 5. There's kind of a reminder. They don't smell identical, but the aldehydes in that new fragrance will remind you of the aldehydes in the Chanel No. 5. But it's aldehydes with floral notes, rose, sandalwood, and white musk. Since ACNE Studios is from Sweden, I feel like the fragrance does fit the whole Swedish thing, but I'm not too familiar with the whole fashion world of ACNE Studios, you know, clothing and things like that, so I don't know if it matches that. But for me, I know the brand's from Sweden, and I feel like it does fit the whole brand, I think. Not looking at the clothes. But moving on to the house of MARC-ANTOINE Barrois, it's TILIA, a fragrance created by Quentin Bisch. So Quentin Bisch has been creating all of the fragrances for MARC-ANTOINE Barrois. Now we finally have a feminine fragrance. This features notes of Ambroxan, Broom, heliotrope, jasmine sambac, linden tree, vetiver, and wood. So it seems very feminine. We've got the jasmine sambac, linden blossom or linden tree, and then we've got broom. So these are the heliotrope as well. So it's going to be very powdery fragrance, and then they've also thrown in the woods and the vetiver, and then also the ambroxan. So ambroxan I think is used quite a bit by Quentin Bisch. I'm not 100% sure, but it's used here and also in a fragrance he created for Le Galion called TILIA, which is basically linden blossom. So I wonder how much it's going to smell like that fragrance, but who knows. I'm curious to get my nose on TILIA from the house of MARC-ANTOINE Barrois. I do enjoy this house. My favorite is still Ganymede. I do enjoy Ganymede quite a bit. And let me know if you're a fan of that fragrance. So next up, we've got a fragrance from the house of Vacation or Arquiste called After Sun. Remember Vacation by Vacation came out back in 2020 during the height of the pandemic. Really fell in love with that one. And in 2022, I got to meet Rodrigo Flores-Roux, who's the perfumer of both that one as this new one, After Sun. And I told him about Vacation. He said they're working on a few more. So I guess they're going to come out with a few more, including this latest one, which is the second fragrance in the line. It's called After Sun. Now this one sounds really, really fun, and I can't wait to get my nose on it. Cotton, linen, tonic water, cardamom, gin, ozone, aloe vera, cantaloupe, green tea, verjuice. Doesn't that sound pretty interesting? Yeah, so how is it connected to the Vacation? Because the previous one, the Vacation by Vacation, was very beachy, suntan lotiony and things like that. Also a bit plasticky. Lycra, I think, was one of the notes in that one. So this one sounds really fun, and I can't wait to get my nose on it. But moving on to the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier, Scandal pour Homme collection and Scandal for Women has a third fragrance coming out called Absolute. So we've left the elixirs and now we've moved on to the Absolute. Are the Absolutes considered parfum concentration? I don't really know, but I do like the sound of both of these fragrances, more of the male version, which features notes of honey, gardenia, chestnuts, mirabelle plums, patchouli, and sandalwood. Honey seems to be very popular. I don't know what really kickstarted the honey trend, and I think we're going to see some more honey come up in fragrances. But tobacco honey, if you haven't gotten your nose on that one, please do. And then moving on to the woman's version of Scandal Absolute, it's honey, sandalwood, black figs, tuberose, leather, and rose. Both of them sound great. I know nothing about the feminine collection. I know the male collection. They're a bit underwhelming for me, so I'm hoping this one is going to really win me over with the collection, and hopefully it's going to be a parfum concentration. But moving on to the Gucci house, and this is a fragrance from their Alchemist Garden collection. It's the Heart of Leo, created by Amandine Clerc-Marie. She is a Firmenich perfumer where Alberto Morillas works, but Alberto Morillas was doing all of the fragrances for the Alchemist Garden up until the last creative director left. So now they've branched off into finding other perfumers. And I believe Amandine Clerc-Marie did the latest Burberry Goddess fragrance. Was that the one she did? I think that's what she did. She did a really great job with that one. It's a vanilla, and I'm looking forward to trying this one, but it's sounds like it's going to be very resinous, smoky, and, you know, like frankincense comes to mind, which is basically one of the notes, and myrrh, and then they've thrown in black currant. So sounds a bit unusual, but we'll see how it is. And again, this collection, I've kind of gotten bored of. They're a bit underwhelming lately. I don't know. It started off with a pretty big bang. And then the more they released, the more I'm bored of them. But I'm curious to see how the Heart of Leo is. But if you've sampled some of the more later fragrances in this collection, let me know which ones are your favorites. Put a comment down below so I can find out. So next, we've got a fragrance from the house of Frapin. It's Le Humaniste Extreme. Now, I never was a fan of the original. I didn't hate it and I didn't really love it, but I got to sample this one in my travels in Europe and France, and I really enjoyed what I smelled. Of course, I'm a fan of extreme fragrances, intense fragrances, or variations, extreme and intense variations on original fragrances, and this one really did satisfy, so I'm looking forward to get my nose on it again. But it features notes of moss, tolu, tonka beans, patchouli, nutmeg, quince, lemons, black and pink pepper, cardamom, and bergamot. Are you a fan of the original Le Humaniste from Frapin? From what I've read, and I remember, it does kind of have a similarity to Allure Homme from the House of Chanel. This one didn't remind me of it, but maybe like really faintly in the back it does. I don't know. We'll see. But if you've gotten your nose on it, do let me know. Put a comment down, and if you're excited for it, also let me know. But moving on to the house of Obvious Parfums, this is Scoville, the latest release from Obvious, created by Patrice Revillard, featuring notes of musk, vanilla, woods, paprika, black pepper, chili, Sichuan pepper. Paprika is some kind of a weed, and I looked it up, and I've never gotten my nose on it, so I can't really comment on that, so I'd have to learn. But the whole fragrance sounds very spicy, like it's peppery. Pepper, we've got the black pepper, the chili pepper, the Sichuan pepper, lots of woods, and then of course we've got the paprika, musk, and vanilla. Very interesting combo. I like this house, and I'm looking forward to get my nose on it. Moving on to MCM, it's Crush. Are you guys fans of this house? Nobody talks about them, and I see they're cranking out fragrances. And I enjoyed the first one, but I haven't really kept up with the releases. This Crush, I believe, is the third fragrance, maybe the fourth. But it's Frank Vocal perfumer with ambrette, cashmere wood, Virginia cedar, magnolia, May rose, white peony, apricot nectar, black currant, pears, pink pepper. Sounds fun. I enjoy ambrette seeds and fragrances. It creates a muskiness. This one does seem fruity though. But if you've gotten your nose on it, do put a comment down below so I can find out and what you think about it. So next up, it's Kylie Cosmetics. I know this one's been out. I haven't been able to get my nose on it. What do you guys think about it? Have you gotten your nose on this one? It's called Cosmic by Kylie Cosmetics. Cedar, musk, vanilla, amber, red peonies, blood oranges, star jasmine. I don't know. Is it a celebrity fragrance or is it a fragrance for a cosmetic brand? So there's the two different categories here. Like Kim Kardashian has fragrances under Kim Kardashian, which I would consider celebrity fragrances. But then as a skincare brand, it wouldn't. Like, let's say Rihanna. Rihanna has fragrances under Rihanna. And then she's got a fragrance under Fenty. Fenty I consider more of a skincare brand fragrance. And then under her own name I consider. So this seems more like a Kylie Cosmetics and not Kylie Jenner kind of a fragrance. But if you've gotten your nose on it, do let me know. Put a comment down below. But let's move on to the next one. From the house of Dries Van Noten, it's Mystic Moss. These fragrances never made it here to near me. I haven't been able to sample them. And the only place I've been able to sample them is the department store in Paris. Man, it's on the left bank. Left bank? Yeah, I can't remember. It's one of the beautiful department stores in Paris. And I liked a few of the fragrances. I did enjoy the colognes a lot, the larger bottle ones. The one from Quentin Bisch is really good. But I'm quite curious about Mystic Moss. It's created by Nicolas Bonville. It's oak moss with patchouli, vetiver, frankincense, algae, geranium, green mandarin, cardamom, and clary sage. I also recently heard that Dries Van Noten is stepping down as designer for his clothing line. So who's going to take over? But I wish the fragrances were a little more exciting. Hopefully this one is. And there's a few that I like. I just haven't been the biggest, very excited about the fragrances. But yeah, the colognes and the larger bottles are really, really great for me. If you haven't tried those, do catch or try and get your nose on those. And the next fragrance, Raja Parfums Isola Sol. So this is Isola Blue follow-up, flanker, a brand new fragrance created by Raja Dove. It's Ambroxan, Amyris, Cedar, Pink Pepper, Apricot, Mandarin, Peach, Bergamot, Jasmine Sambac, Coconut, Ylang Ylang, salty notes. Once again, chock full of notes. I don't know what this fragrance is going to smell like. It does seem like it's going into a fruity direction, a summery direction perhaps. The salty notes, the coconut, the ylang ylang, and those fruits. To me, it sounds like it's going to be, you know, fruity, sweet, kind of a... and salty also for the summertime. But we'll see. I haven't got my nose on it, but I'm curious to get my nose on it. I did enjoy Isola Blue. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. And let's see how Isola Sol is. But if you've gotten your nose on it, do let me know or let us know. Put a comment down below. Next, it's Diaz & Durga Wear at Maximum Volume. I do have to say that their fragrance names are really cool. I really like their names. I'm not a big fan of all of the fragrances, but I enjoyed a lot of the names. So hopefully this one is as good as the name is, Wear at Maximum Volume, because it features amber, English moss, patchouli, Egyptian jasmine, English rose, violet, mandarin, pepper, silk, created by David Seth Moltz. Is this one of the not exclusive but limited edition fragrances? They do crank out so many limited edition fragrances. It's almost as overwhelming as how many fragrances get launched by every brand. It's like, slow down a bit. Don't overwhelm us. Can't keep up. I really can't keep up. Because I don't want to miss out on some fragrance that might be like a masterpiece, you know? But yeah, I can't keep up. But one fragrance that DS and Durga had launched last year, limited edition, thankfully I was able to buy it at Ministry of Scent, called Mahogany Core. Really, really wonderful patchouli fragrance. Sadly, it's a limited edition. Maybe they'll bring it in as a, you know, regular collection item, but who knows? We'll see. And the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Toast Man Spritz. Are you guys familiar with this house? It's a Spanish house. They have 1 or 2 fragrances in this series, maybe 3 actually, come to think of it. This one sounds interesting. Amberwood, leather, orchanox, patchouli, pink pepper, bourbon geranium, caramel, lavender, bitter orange, pineapple, juniper berries, and tangerine. Let me know if you're familiar with this house. I do have some videos on the channel on this house. You can search for it. T-O-U-S, Taos, 2. Yeah, the name is, it's in Spanish, so from what I remember, it's Tos. Not toe, Tos. Anyway, if I'm saying the name wrong, please correct me, because I always forget how to pronounce this name. It's not that difficult the way it looks, but it is to remember how to pronounce it. But either way, that's all I have for you guys today. These 17 new fragrances. Stay tuned for another video like this in a few weeks. As I said, as soon as I compile the list, there's another list ready to go, so I can't keep up anymore. There's so many fragrances launching, but do let me know what you think about the fragrances in this video. Do they sound exciting to you? Do they sound boring to you? Is there something that's coming out that I missed, that I forgot to talk about? Do put a comment down below so I can find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And last but not least, the 3 new Guerlain men's fragrance parfums. Remember, I told you guys about these 3 coming in December. I found out that these were coming in December, and I mentioned these were coming, but I was hoping for Heritage to be one of them. But sure enough, Vetiver is probably one of the more popular fragrances in the Guerlain men's series of fragrances. So for sure, Vetiver was going to get a parfum. And of course, the more modern collection in this house's men's fragrances is L'Homme Ideal. So we've got a L'Homme Ideal parfum, and I feel like Habit Rouge is probably a really popular offering from Guerlain. So they've done a parfum of that fragrance as well. So 3 new parfums. The Vetiver parfum features notes of vetiver, smoke, licorice, coriander, juniper berries, tonka beans. Remember Vetiver Extreme, guys? Vetiver Extreme also had licorice. We'll see. I tested all 3 of these out in France. I posted about it on Instagram, and I'll do a video on them very, very soon. But for me, L'Homme Ideal out of the 3, I'm going to talk to you about that next, is the one that was the weakest on me when I wore them and tested them out. Featuring amaretto, leather, musk, and patchouli. But for me, it smelled really, really great. It just felt light. It didn't feel like a parfum. But as a smell, it was delicious, and it was boozy. Amaretto liqueur, yes. So that one smelled great, but out of the 3, it performed the weakest. For me, Habit Rouge Parfum was amazing with its performance, but it did remind me a little bit of Habit Rouge dress code. But it was the most intense out of the 3 that when I was testing the 3 out. But it did remind me of Habit Rouge dress code. It did seem a bit on the gourmand side. But I really love Habit Rouge Rouge Privé, and I felt like Habit Rouge Rouge Privé would still win over, even though Habit Rouge Rouge Parfum is parfum concentration and Rouge Privé is eau de parfum. I really love Rouge Privé for that leather animalistic quality and the whole reminder of the Habit Rouge DNA. They basically boosted up the leather in that. But still, I think this is good. It reminds me of dress code, but if I had to pick, I would go with the Rouge Privé. But out of the 3, I enjoyed wearing the Rouge, Habit Rouge Parfum the most. The Vetiver Parfum I felt like was a bit boring. It's just all woods, pretty much. I'll put it to test further. In fact, I've been testing them out here and there, and I'll let you know very soon on what I think about these 3 new parfum fragrances. But if you like the idea of parfums, check them out. Again, L'Homme Ideal was the weakest, which was disappointing because it smelled really, really great. Yeah, I think it's nice to have parfums in the parfum you know, whole parfum movement is out there, and all the brands are making parfum concentration fragrances, because not only can they, you know, raise the prices up and sell these fragrances for really expensive because they're higher concentration, but I think a lot of people do want stronger fragrances, and stronger fragrances of existing fragrances out there. It might get a bit boring. I know Guerlain doesn't do too many flankers, although the L'Homme Ideal collection is over flankered, I think. But I like having the option of Habit Rouge Parfum and also Vetiver Parfum, even though I'm bored of it. The L'Homme Ideal, as I said, is really, really great. It was really weak on me. What a disappointment. But I think they've already done way too many flankers in that series of fragrances. Why not Heritage? Heritage is really, really prime for a parfum. I love that fragrance. Really love it. But sadly, it didn't get the parfum treatment. But anyway, I'll report back and a review of all three of these fragrances. If you've gotten your noses on them, do let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. See you guys later. Bye-bye.